I'm Major General Gerald Prather. I am Air Force retired. I was never, as a young guy, I was never excited about going into the service. But one day I was sitting on my front porch in LaGrange, Georgia, and a buddy of mine came by in his automobile, honked his horn, and I went out, and he said, "I'm going to Valdosta, Georgia. Would you like to take a ride?" And I said, "Sure, don't have anything else to do." So I got in the car and we drove down to Valdosta, Georgia. And he was signed up for the test, and I walked up to the table and the guy says, "You want to take the test too?" I said, "I haven't applied." He says, "Doesn't matter, we'll put you." So they took me in and they gave me the Air Force's aviation cadet test to see if I was capable of flying airplanes. And I did. I took it, having no idea what it was going to bring to me. But then I waited for him to put the list out on the bulletin board of who passed the test and who didn't. I did. I passed the test. My buddy didn't. So we drove home kind of quietly together. It was exciting, fun. I went into the Air Force not knowing what I'm going to get into, but in those days, I was young and restless, and it really didn't matter. So I jumped in the United States Air Force, went through basic training, and then went through officers training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. I finished that and went into the aviation cadet program shortly thereafter. And I took the Air Force pilot training program, and I graduated from the test and the training as a distinguished graduate. Afterwards, my day was always busy. Never a rightful schedule, but if I did do a schedule, I would leave the house about 6 o'clock in the morning and wouldn't get home sometimes till very late, like 9 to 12. Did a lot of work for the Air Force in that case, but I enjoyed it, and I was now a pilot in the United States Air Force and was flying fighter aircraft, and I flew lots of others, B-52s, bombers, and in Vietnam. It was a rewarding career. Got educated by the Air Force, basically, because I had 1 year of college from Auburn University as an engineer. The Air Force sent me back and got a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. Later on, I went into the logistics management program for the Air Force, and I got my master's degree in management, funded by the Air Force, and so they were good to me. And the rest of my life was either flying or was fighting. And I was fortunate enough to be able to come back home after that with all in one piece, thank God. After the pilot training, I was busy at that time there was no war. Korean War was winding down, but some of the other stations that I had were directly involved in supporting them. I enjoyed flying. I loved to be to fly. I flew, the worst time I had, I guess, in my flying was in Vietnam, and we were I did 500 plus sorties in the C-130, which is a cargo airplane, and really, I really was not overly tasked, but except for one thing, and that is I was tasked to haul our MIAs, or missing in action or dead in action, primarily the ones that were in plastic bags after they had died in the jungle. I had an extremely hard time doing that job, but I did it and I got those boys home. I'm proud of that. I continued as a pilot and then basically became a commander of a communications unit, primarily oriented around my electrical engineering degree. And my life became one of not flying anymore, but supporting the Air Force and its mission, which I enjoyed as well, and stayed at it for 32 years. I don't have any regrets about being in the military. I love the Air Force. I love to fly, and I had a wonderful time in management of the people that I was entrusted to manage, and up to and including becoming the commander of the Air Force's Communications Command, which had over 60,000 people all over the world doing communications for the Air Force and others. And that was a challenge. But I enjoyed the challenge and worked really hard at it until I had finished 32 years in the Air Force. I retired from the Air Force after serving 32 years and came to Rio Texas to open up a home. I enjoyed being here because the Laughlin Air Force Base was here, and I could include my life in their life as well. But primarily, I was appointed as a Justice of the Peace, as a People's Judge in Del Rio, Texas, in one of the precincts. There's never a dull moment when you're a judge. You are required as a Justice of the Peace to be a medical examiner. That was, and it kept me busy, and I did that job for over 8 years. Then I got more involved in other areas. Primarily, I was working with God in my church. I took the roles that I needed to take in order to help my church survive several things. One of them was a terrible disaster that had come through Del Rio, Texas, and killed lots of people. And I was appointed by the county judge and the county representatives. I did that job for perhaps a desire be more help to my community. I have enjoyed being in all of the functions that are involved. I was elected as the president and had served as a vice president and other jobs in the Chamber of Commerce in Rio Texas. I'm very involved in the community and the precinct and the entire county of Val Verde County, and I've had the opportunity to serve this community as a member and to support the Air Force at the same time. And I am a vice president, lifetime president of the Military Affairs Association, and we in the Lions Club, which I was a member of and served a number of years with, then we started a program called the Wild Game Dinner. And serving as the Chamber of Commerce and the Military Affairs Association, I took on a role as a cook and served almost 2,000 people the General's chili. The General's chili was well known and still is today because we still do the Wild Game Dinner, and I'm still a part of that. I served as the vice president for the Chamber of Commerce, and we did a number of things there in order to support the community when it was bombarded by a major storm. We were caught totally by surprise. I was asked to form a community group that would be able to support all the sources of good that were coming into us and get it organized and distributed properly. I did do that. I became the president of the support group, which not only dealt with the people that were killed, but also the people that were homeless, had no support whatsoever, and that was primarily a good job for me because I had through my service time learned quite well to be a manager of a large group of people. I enjoyed that work. I still think a lot about it, but it was a challenge for me. I also served in a number of ways for our community. I enjoyed serving the community. It was giving my life to them because I needed friendship, and they gave me the friendship, and I returned it for them. I don't have any qualms at all about my service. I am still busy with it because I am a director in the hospital board to keep them rolling. I've been involved in a number of other support groups as well. But the one that's going on right now is probably the most interesting because of the virus that's going around, because I can help in some ways through my position on the board of directors for our hospital, and provide the community with a reasonable response to that terrible void caused by the death of people in in this virus business. I'm still involved in that and will continue as long as the virus is here. But I'm 85 years old now, and I can't do much work outside my home. So what we've done is settle down in my home and work from my home, and until this virus is quarantined, I've been uh, I've been hiding from the virus so that I don't get it, and so far I've been successful. I've had a good life. I, I have been guided over the years by my God. He has protected me over those years, and He's made me comfortable in it. I have had what I think is years of love and laughter and skills deployed, all those things. And I can only give you a bit of advice. Make the people happy. If you can make people happy, you've accomplished a great deal. And I have tried to do that deliberately. I have tried to do that. I have enjoyed my life. I'm still enjoying my life, and I'm still being blessed with a beautiful life. I won't bother. If I had any advice at all, I would say pleasing personality and smiling to your people will make so much progress in your life, and it'll make you happy because it makes them happy. I totally advise that. Make them happy and be happy yourself. And if you can maintain that happiness as long as I have, you'll be very proud of the life you have had. And I appreciate you very much for allowing me to confidentially tell you what my life has been, and I'm looking forward to several more years of support to my community. What a Wonderful Life is probably the theme song that I use most of all. What a wonderful life the Lord that gave me. What a wonderful life I have had. And thanks to Him and thanks to the people that I'm serving, I will continue to do that, and I will continue to call this life of mine a wonderful life.